Okay, going back to this question, how do you stop adding things to your plate? How to know when it's enough, especially in January? Jamie says, second that question. How do you know when it's not obvious when to add a goal and when to put it on an idea list for later? So 95 for me, 95% of the time, it can go on an idea list for later. Most of the time, we can think of what we need to do in the month before the month starts. And we can plan the month. Maybe yours isn't 95%. Maybe yours is a different amount. Some percentage of the time, you can plan it in advance. You can plan what is going to happen that month. You can plan your goals, and you can have, these are the things that I'm focused on in January. So then when something pops up, I literally ask myself, is this time sensitive? And if the answer is no, it's not, then it is going on a future idea list. And whether that is a to-do list, even for the next day or the next week, but it seems like asking about month. I already have 2 idea lists running for the rest of the year. I have a February idea list. So when I think of a step that is related to my current quarterly goals, that goes on my February idea list. And then when I have an idea that is not related at all to my quarterly goals, but fits within my annual goals, it goes into my Q2 beyond idea list. And at some point this year, obviously at some point this year, at some point probably earlier in the year than you would expect, I'm going to start a 2025 idea list. I know that sounds bananas because it is January 17th, but there are going to be things that I think of that I'm like, that's not happening in 2024. It's just not. It doesn't fit in with my goals for 2024. So I am going to put it onto my 2025 list. Now, if things pop up that you have to add, you have a couple of options. Option 1 is you always leave white space for those things that are going to pop up. So if you know that you have a life where things pop up more often, you leave white space for when those things are going to pop up, and you have that extra buffer. The other thing is when things pop up, you take something off. It's like the 1 in 1 out rule for houses and decluttering. The same thing applies to your calendar. You can have a 1 in 1 out rule for your calendar. So if something pops up and you are like, this is something I want to include for whatever reason, you may have to let something else go. And that can be on whatever time frame you typically plan. But the more you just keep piling on, you're not going to get anything done because you're just going to keep adding, and then you're going to feel overwhelmed, and then you're going to not do anything. Maybe that's just me, but it is so much more beneficial for you to postpone it to a time where you can actually schedule time for it and not try to pile it on to a time period that you already have planned out. Again, whether that's a day, a week, a month.